Hi, this is Andrea Schulman again, and in today's quick law of attraction video, I want to talk about something you can do if a manifestation is taking too long. And the reason why I'm making this video is that a couple weeks ago I got a really great question from a YouTube viewer, and the question is this: what can we do when we've been trying to manifest a success for many years but keep bumping into closed doors and glass ceilings? I am generally highly motivated and do my best, but the results that I get aren't near as what I have in my visualizations. Am I dreaming too big? Do you have any tips on what one could do to change this bad luck? And fortunately, I do have a few suggestions, and I'm going to share them with you today. All right, now when it comes to manifestations taking too long, some of the conventional law of attraction advice out there is to just let go, don't focus on it, forget about it, just focus on the feeling of having it. And that advice can be helpful. But if you've been having an experience where there's something that you really want and you've been wanting it for a long time and you just keep running into problems, here's something really wonderful to understand about that. If there's something that you really want and you've wanted it for a long time and you just keep running into door after door after door, it means that inside you are literally screaming to let go of a limitation or a few limitations that have been holding you back throughout the course of your life. And so if you've had this experience where there's something that you really, really want and you keep having problem after problem after problem with it, or it's not as big as you want it to be, please understand that understanding what's going on underneath that is going to be huge for you. If you can figure out what those limitations are that are holding you back and shift them, you're going to take a massive leap forward in life. Now, there are a couple things to understand about limitations. Sometimes the limitations we have are very surface level, and some of them are much deeper. So I'm going to give you a couple of questions that you can apply to your manifestation that's taking too long, and use these to identify what are the limitations that I'm holding on to that are preventing my success in this area. And to use this in a description, I'm going to use this talking about trying to grow a business. Because this is a question I've seen before with my coaching clients who are running businesses where maybe they've got some business, but it's not the big business that they want, or it's just not really booming for them. And so these are a couple of questions that we can go through that will identify what is that person holding on to that is preventing their business from flourishing, and how can they shift it so that their business can start to flourish more and more. All right, so the first question that you can ask yourself has to do with the surface level limitations. All right, the surface level limitations. And so here's a question that you can ask yourself, and it's very negatively oriented, but it will point out for you what your limitations are very clearly. And the question is this: why can't I have success in this area of my life? Ask yourself that question and jot down whatever comes to mind. Now, this is a good surface level question, because if we were relating this to business, let's say that you're trying to build your business and it's just not flourishing, and you ask yourself this question: why can't I have success with this business? You might get a variety of answers, such as, well, there's all these government restrictions that are keeping me from really making a lot of money. Or maybe there's these taxes that are getting in the way of me making a lot of money. Or maybe my Instagram profile isn't big enough for me to have the success that I want. I don't have enough Instagram followers. Or maybe I have a huge Twitter following, but Twitter's restricting how many tweets go out to my followers. Or maybe I don't have enough money. I don't have the funding. These are all surface level limitations that we may pick up while we're going along our dream, that we start buying into, that actually become reinforced and cause us to experience problems in pursuing our dream. Now, here's why it's important to understand the surface level issues, is that if you've been struggling to get to your dream, you might have started running into roadblocks, and you've started to buy into the idea that those roadblocks are actually going to prevent you from having your dream. And so the funding will be a problem. The number of your Instagram followers will be a problem. That will actually become a literal problem that prevents you from moving forward. Not because it has to, but because you've started to buy into it. So once you have your list of surface level limitations, For each one, just ask yourself, why is this untrue? Or why is this not always the case? Because the answer to the second question will give you alternative evidence for why your limitation is just a belief of yours. It is not a universal truth. So let me take this a step further. Let's say that one of your surface level limitations is, I believe that my business can't flourish, can't be a success because I don't have enough Instagram followers. Well, then you follow that up with, why is this untrue? Look around. Whose businesses are flourishing even though they don't have that many Instagram followers? Maybe your business isn't doing that great, but maybe you have a friend who runs a beauty salon and has 0 Instagram followers because she doesn't have an Instagram account and her business is thriving. What this will let you do, looking for why the statement is untrue, will help you to start to collect evidence for the idea that the limitation is not really a limitation. It doesn't have to affect you, it doesn't affect everybody else. And the more evidence that you can gather to support the idea that that limitation is actually a falsehood, the more you're going to start to understand that it doesn't matter what the taxes are, how many Instagram followers you are, what somebody else told you were supposed to do. None of that matters. Your business, or whatever your dream is, can be a success no matter what the parameters are. And so the more you start to look for people that do not follow that rule that you've set in your mind and are still doing well, the more you're going to start to believe that, oh, that's not really, doesn't have to be a limitation for me either. Now, those are surface level limitations, but it's also really important to ask yourself a bigger question, a deeper question, because if this is something you've been holding on to for a long time, chances are there's something really personal that's going on inside of you that's a very strong limitation. And so here's another question that would be really great for you to ask yourself in regards to this particular dream that's taking a long time to manifest. Why would it make me feel terrible if I didn't get this thing that I want? Why would it make me feel terrible if I didn't get this thing that I want? The answer to this question will tell you something deeper about yourself, and it may take a little bit of searching, but when you get an answer that kind of shakes you up a little bit and makes you a little teary, or maybe gives you goosebumps and gives you an emotional response, that's a limitation that's bigger on the self. So in terms of the business, you might answer the question like, well, it would mean that I'm a failure in life, or it would mean that I'm unworthy, or it would mean that I'm not a good provider to my family. You're gonna find something that strikes more at the core of who you are. That limitation is the big one. That's the one you really want to transfer, because as long as you're projecting that idea that I'm not a good provider, I'm not a success, I'm a failure, or whatever that core belief is, the more you're gonna keep running into roadblocks to reinforce the idea that you're not those things that you wanna be. Now, just like with before, with the surface level beliefs, to switch this around, ask yourself that question again, which is, why is this statement untrue? Why is this limitation untrue? How am I worthy? How am I successful in life? How am I a good provider? Because with the law of attraction, it's all about what are you giving your focus to? If you're giving your focus to your limitations, what tells you why you can't have your dream or what it means about you that's so terrible, that's going to continue to flourish. But if instead you can look for the opposing evidence to the opposite of those statements, you can allow your focus on what's good about you to grow and why your business or your dream or whatever it is can grow.